morning, class.
Morning, ma'am.
Morning, ma'am.
Is everyone around?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes po. Yes.
Okay, let's do a quick roll call. If your name is called, just say uwu, turn on your mic and your camera. Okay? Okay, first, Miss Angkal. Thank you, Miss Aragasi. Okay, next, Miss Arap. Okay, next we have Mr. Bailon. Is he around? Okay, and lastly, Miss Binasing. Okay, now let us start our discussion. Last meeting, I assigned 2 students to make a recap on yesterday's discussion. Just a brief recap. The first assigned student, you can start.
Good morning, everyone. Yesterday's topic was all about Philippine literature. I learned that Philippine literature was actually epics passed on from generation to generation, originally through an oral through an oral tradition.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you,
you,
ma'am.
Miss Abir. Let me just clarify. It was in pre-Hispanic period that oral tradition was passed down to generation. For instance, is the Darangen of Maranaos in Mindanao. They were able to keep transcribed copies of their epic as family heirlooms. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Now
po,
let's
ma'am.
proceed to the second student.
It's me po, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Bailon, you can proceed.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. My takeaway is that literature is the field of expression. Its subject in human literature is human, our experience as human. Also, in Philippine literature, it is unique since the authors use different languages.
Thank you, Mr. Bailon. Again, class, Philippine literature includes the legends of prehistoric and the colonial legacy of the Philippines. Excuse me, please turn off your microphones if you're not called so that you cannot disturb the class. Thank you. Again, the Philippine authors made our literature unique because of the various languages they used: Spanish, Filipino, English, Tagalog, and other Philippine languages. They made these languages their own by adding a distinct voice and a distinct taste to it that was unique in our archipelago. Is that clear?
Clear po.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that clear? Okay, thank you.
Yes po.
Can we proceed?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
All right.
ma'am.
Thank you. All right. Today, we will continue our discussion about the Philippine literature. Philippine literature reflects a diverse group of works which are mostly grounded on tradition, folklores, socio-political histories, and real-life experiences. Can you give me an example of Philippine literature and their authors? Anyone? Ayan. So, Miss Angkal, okay, several of you is raising their hands. Let's go first with Miss Angkal.
Ma'am, the famous novel of Dr. Jose Rizal, No Limit Anger.
Okay. No limit anger. That's right. Next, we have Miss Arap.
Florante and Laura po by Francisco Balagtas.
Yes. Class, Florante at Laura is another famous masterpiece in Philippine literature. Francisco Balagtas wrote the Florante at Laura in the form of awit, which is a tula with 12 syllables each verse. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have Miss Binasing.
Biag ni Lamang by Pedro Bocanig po.
Come again. Pardon, Miss Binasing, can you repeat that?
Sorry ma'am, maingay po dito. My answer is Biag ni Lamang by Pedro Bocanig po.
Okay, so Biag ni Lamang is also one of the famous epics in Philippine literature. Next, we have Miss Abir.
Mga Ibong Mandaragit po, a novel of Amando V. Hernandez.
Okay, thank you, thank you. So thank you for the participation, class. Now, Let
Ma'am,
us, yes, Mr. Bailon.
I still have an example po, ma'am.
Oh, okay, Mr. Bailon, go on. I think Mr. Bailon is having an internet connection problem. Shall we proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay, all of your answers are correct. Indeed, we really have rich culture when it comes to literature. And now, let us discuss some of these famous works in Philippine literature, starting with the classic Noli Me Tangere. But before we continue, last week I have posted a material of Noli Me Tangere in our Google Classroom for you to read. I also announced that we are having a graded recitation today about this particular novel of our national hero, Dr. Jose Rizal. Am I correct?
Yes,
Hello,
ma'am.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, so all right, let me first give you an overview of the novel before we proceed to the graded recitation. Listen carefully. Among the great novels in Philippine literature, Noli Me Tangere, or when translated into English, which means Touch Me Not, is the most controversial and widely known novel in the Philippines. In fact, Noli Me Tangere is included in the current educational curriculum of Filipino high school students. While in college, you will have to study about the life of its author under the course of Life of Rizal. This novel sparked the social awakening of Filipinos during the Spanish colonial era, as Rizal cannot fathom the unfairness of the Spanish priests and the ruling government during this colonized time. His purpose of writing the book was to expose the ills of Philippine society at the time. In this revolutionary book, you learn about the story of Crisostomo Ibarra, how he dealt with the Spanish authorities, and how he prepared for his revenge, as told in Rizal's second book, El Filibusterismo. Class, do you follow?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes po,
Okay,
ma'am.
so I guess everyone is prepared. We will now proceed to our graded recitation. Mr. Bailon, turn on your microphone and your camera.
No, lubog to ko yung una. Bakit ako yung una?
Bakit hindi, Mr. Anthony? Here's your question. What is the full name of Mr. Ibarra?
Don Juan Crisostomo Ibarra y Magsalin po, ma'am.
Okay. Who do you think does Ibarra represents in real life?
For me po, ma'am, Crisostomo Ibarra represents Jose Rizal po, ma'am. Kumbaga, represent niya po yung desire natin na maging malaya po sa pananakop ng mga Spanish po.
Okay, thank you. Next, Miss Abir, turn on your microphone and your camera.
Yes, ma'am.
Here's your question. What is the English meaning of Noli Me Tangere?
Touch me not.
Okay. Touch me not. What do you think is the reason behind it?
In the novel's dedication, Rizal explains that there was once type of a cancer so terrible that the sufferer could not bear to be touched, and the disease was thus called Noli Me Tangere, which means do not touch me. He believed that his homeland was similarly afflicted. Furthermore, the English translation was originally titled The Social Cancer because the novel is about the abuses that Philippine natives were suffering on the hands of the Spanish friars.
Okay, very well said. Thank you, Miss Abir. Next, Miss Arap. Kindly turn on your mic and your camera.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Give us the two books that influenced Rizal to write the Noli Me Tangere.
Yes po. So the first one po is the Uncle Tom's Cabin, and the second one is the Wandering Jew po.
Okay. Why do you think Rizal wrote Noli Me Tangere? What for?
I think po he wrote it to show and made Filipinos realize how the society of the Philippines during Spanish colonial period and describe iniquities of the Spanish Catholic friars and the ruling government po.
Okay, thank you. Next, Miss Benasing. Turn on your microphone and your camera.
Yes, ma'am.
Ayan. Your question is, how many chapters does Noli Me Tangere have, including the epilogue?
63 po, ma'am. 63.
Okay. Among those 63 chapters, what was the most remarkable chapter for you and why?
Ma'am, the most remarkable chapter for me, ma'am, is yung chapter 10. Dito po dinescribe or kinuwento yung chapter 10 po, Kabanata 10, the town of San Diego. So dito po in-introduce yung pamilya ni Ibarra po.
Okay, thank you. And lastly, we have Miss Angkal. Kindly turn on your mic and your camera. Are you ready?
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay, so here's your question. She symbolizes a Filipina who come from a good education, modest, faithful, reserved, and conservative. Give us her full name.
Maria Clara de los Santos y Alba po, ma'am.
Ayan, Maria Clara. Do you think that in modern day, Maria Clara is still the representation of the Filipinas? Why or why not?
For me, ma'am, I think Maria Clara do not represent the Filipinas nowadays because we are now in modern day that women are more empowered than before.
Okay. All right, so that concludes our graded recitation. You all did very good job. Yes, and just a brief clarification for you to take note. Noli Me Tangere is one of the greatest novel in Philippine literature, written by our national hero, Dr. Jose P. Rizal, to expose the wrongdoings of the Spaniards when they colonized us. It was originally written in Spanish, but now it is now translated with several languages. It was interpreted in the last chapter of the book that Rizal wrote, Noli Me Tangere, for our Inang Bayan, for our nation. And he hopes that Philippines will be free from all of Spaniards' chains and cages. This novel was published in 1887 and has played a very crucial role in the political history of the Philippines. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. Can you put a thumbs up if everything is clear? Ayan, thank you. So do you have any more questions, clarifications about our discussion for today?
None po, ma'am.
None so far po.
None so far po,
Oh.
ma'am.
Okay, then that would conclude our class for today. Kindly keep yourself updated on our Google Classroom and official group chats for further information about the tasks that I will be assigning for the next topic. Okay, it would be about the second novel of Dr. Jose Rizal, which is the El Filibusterismo. Is everything clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, then you all did well. See you on next meeting. Class dismissed.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you
Thank you
po.
so much po, ma'am. Goodbye po.